This video is brought to you by Atom Tickets, the ticketing app and website service great for purchasing movie tickets through the app or website of the same name. Logan is shaping up to be one of the biggest comic book movies of the year, and maybe even one of the best. Who knows? Not me, I don't know. So as always, we're going to take this new trailer and break down all the Easter eggs and references and things potentially missed. Plus I want to go through the depressing history of the Wolverine movie costume for all the X-Men movies, but also how some of them came real close to being accurate. And then I want to talk about how I don't think this will be the last time we'll see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine on film. I'll explain more on that in a bit. Also at the end, there'll be a Loot Crate giveaway as always, so get ready. Get excited, get hyped. And by that I mean enjoy this video at whatever level you feel comfortable at. First off, despite conflicting reports, this movie has been confirmed by director James Mangold to be set in the year 2029, 5 or 6 years after the epilogue sequence from Days of Future Past, where holographic alarm clocks were a dime a dozen. His reason for doing this is so that the movie doesn't just feel like another episode in this ongoing X-Men TV series, where each one ties heavily to the last. Now since 2023, there's been some notable changes to the universe. A lot of X-Men are gone, but they still exist in the public consciousness, which we'll get back to in a bit. It's been hinted at that a lot are dead. Hugh Jackman used the word storm to describe this image, which could refer to both the weather conditions and how this might actually be Storm's funeral. Professor X is also a much different man. He's experiencing seizures, which are capable of freezing a person in place, which we get hints at in the trailer. Maybe he experienced one in Cerebro, resulting in the death of a stack of mutants. It's unclear.
Only one meal and hardly any sleep. She's 11, I'm fucking 90.
He's also a bit more sweary than he's been in the past. You know, he's never been that kind of guy who's alright, class dismissed, everyone fuck off. No, not through the door. For fuck's sake. Also, and I've talked about this in the previous trailer breakdown I did, which I'll link at the end, this version of Logan is older and slowing and breaking down, and to combat this he's self-medicating with alcohol and painkillers. This moment here is him apparently unjamming one of his blades, so even those aren't working in the way that they used to. I thought this might be the result of some kind of mutant virus or suppressant that's messing with everyone's powers. But looking at X-23's hands, she doesn't have any scars from where her claws come out, meaning that Logan's ailments are simply a result of being so handsome and old. But more so, you know, the second thing. Speaking of X-23, it's been confirmed by Mangold that Mr. Sinister is definitely not the villain in this film, despite Bryan Singer saying otherwise, and the post-credits sequence we got in X-Men Apocalypse, and that Richard E. Grant's character is the scientist Xander Rice, who's been trying to grow mutants, hence the Wolverine clone in X-23. He wanted to steer away from any big comic book villainry and have this whole world feel very much like ours, where you could just happen to run into this version of Wolverine. Xander Rice is also the man behind the Reavers, and we also get a better sense in this trailer that it's more than Boyd Holbrook's Donald Pierce that's cybernetically enhanced. This guy's got a claw hand, and this guy has a gun hand, which I'd imagine is mostly super inconvenient. The inclusion of X-23 is also not about passing the torch of Wolverine onto another character, but to create a father-daughter dynamic, and have these 3 generations of mutants. Mangold says that he's not really interested in having big budget, spectacular set pieces. He finds those boring, and he'd rather add better character moments. He even said that Fox weren't even really aware of the character of X-23 in the first place. Also, although he acknowledges that this film was made with an R rating in mind, in order to obtain this it even has a smaller budget than the last movie, with Hugh Jackman also said to be taking a bit of a pay cut, but the rating as of yet hasn't been confirmed.
I'm not sidestepping your question at all. I can't say it because They haven't decided it. Meaning, not the studio, the ratings board. Getting
back to Donald Pierce though, he first appeared in the Uncanny X-Men issue 132, which funnily enough is the number of one of the issues of X-Men comics that we see. Now I skimmed over a lot of old issues to find these specific comics to see if they tie into the movie in any way, but it turns out, for copyright reasons, these are brand new stories made specifically for the film, but they used original period X-Men artists to draw them, with Joe Quesada apparently doing the covers. You see, they can't actually use Marvel Comics because Fox only own the rights to the X-Men film universe and some other TV stuff that's coming up soon. This is also a future where the X-Men, the surviving ones at least, are living under the weight of their legacy and celebrity, much like sports stars and heroes and astronauts, and they're not really happy about it. You know, like Buzz Aldrin, a man who you shouldn't accuse of not walking on the moon if you don't want to be struck in the face.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
So I guess, according to these comics, Wolverine is depicted as a man in a yellow costume, unlike what we've seen previously in every other X-Men film. And speaking of, so the other X-Men movies have a long history of taking the classic X-Men costumes and then not using them at all.
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
Yellow spandex? Oh, that's very good. How we laughed and laughed at the time. But now, yeah, I kind of would prefer yellow spandex. It's been proven that you can take iconic comic book costumes that use color and make them work in the modern era. Thor's costume should be the dumbest costume on earth, but it still works. Maybe because he's so handsome and muscular. I'm not sure. I do understand though why they went for black leather in that first movie. It was the era of black leather. If you're in black leather and a trench coat, well that's the coolest thing you could do. Maybe you were kicking a vampire or doing a slow motion cartwheel. Or maybe your goal was to make the sporty kids at your school worried that you were going to murder them. Whatever the purpose. Just so impossibly cool. It also served a practical purpose in the same way that motorcycle gear does. It's that extra layer of protection. This style of X-Men costume was such a hit that it actually temporarily bled over into the world of comics. But the black leather didn't stop there though. X-Men 2, or X2, or X2, X-Men United, or whatever the hell they settled on calling that movie, kept pretty much the same thing. But also with that slight yellow edging to let fans know, hey, come on, don't worry guys, we got this, don't worry, we'll get there. But then in X-Men, the one people hate, but it's not the worst one, came out, and we were treated to that same costume again. The hair was a little bigger, sure, like an eagle in full flight. But if I wanted to see an eagle, I'd go to an eagle farm, and I'd just look at the eagles all day. Then we got the Wolverine prequel. X-Men Origins, definitively the worst X-Men film. What a pile of boring nonsense garbage. That movie did away with leather costumes in favor of the origins of the jacket that he's seen wearing in the first X-Men. Because I don't know about you, I always wondered if there was a completely irrelevant story regarding where he got that from. And you know what? I think if you're going to do the origins of his jacket, why don't you just bore us with every item of clothing that he has down to his jocks? You could call it X-Men Origins Jackman Fashions. And the movie would have probably ended up about as good. X-Men First Class then did something remarkable with the inclusion of actual colourful costumes, and it's wonderful. Unfortunately, Wolverine isn't really in this one. I mean, he is, but it's only briefly, so we missed out on what might have been. Luckily, he returned in The Wolverine, his second solo movie, where he was presented to the delight of fans, his traditional X-Men costume, in a scene that was cut from the final film so as to not clash with Days of Future Past. Great! Bryan Singer was then back at the helm for that movie, and we got some more black suits with some slight colour. We nearly got a version with a bit more yellow, but I totally get why we didn't. I mean, it's the future, and you can't just be running around looking like Big Bird with all these killer robots. Wolverine, though, he travels to the past. You probably know that, you've probably seen it, to 10 years after the events of First Class. And you think, hey, yeah, this is the perfect opportunity to bust out those yellow costumes that you got in storage. But Bryan Singer saw this perfect opportunity and chose to do the opposite of that, insofar as regular clothes. Interestingly, in X-Men Apocalypse, the one that everybody has already forgotten about, we do kind of get a traditional Wolverine costume in that we see him in his Weapon X gear. It's mostly accurate, except, he isn't naked, and then he runs off into the forest in a shot I feel that goes for, a little bit too long, but hey, you got to get your money's worth. You pay Hugh Jackman, and you get him and you put him to work. They probably shot this 50 times, just a muscular man in shorts running into the woods again and again. Ah, incredible. But will we see the original Wolverine costume in Logan? Well, I doubt it, seeing as he's an old man now, so it might look a bit weird on him. But like the comic this movie is loosely based on, it could pop up in a flashback, or maybe we'll catch a glimpse of it, stuffed in a drawer or something. But as hinted at recently, it looks like Wolverine could be showing up in Deadpool 2, along with Pierce Brosnan, made most famous for the role of guy who thinks that you shouldn't be living here.
What goes on in this town is none of your business.
As long as I'm living here, it is.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
See, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they're bloody great mates. Thick as thieves. So even though Hugh Jackman has said this is his last hurrah, I'd say there's a good chance that he'll be back. And if you want a good chance at easily buying your movie tickets, well, do I have the ticketing app and website service for you. Atom Tickets simplifies everything about going to the cinema. The movie you want to see, coordinating with friends, buying concessions. It's movie going for the 21st century. So no matter where you are, you can browse showtimes for films in your area, get everyone on the same page as to what you're going to see, and organize a night out. Plus, you can skip queues by purchasing tickets and pre-ordering your concessions. And the app is free as well. It's free to download. And if you check out this link, www.atm.tk/Mr. Sunday Movies, which is linked below, you'll receive $5 off your entire order when you use the promo code SUNDAY. So, just bloody get into it. Alright, here's the winner of last week's Loot Crate. If you want to win next week's crate, just leave any comment below. Maybe on something that I missed from the trailer, which is unlikely. I'm pretty bloody thorough. Or maybe on your favorite and least favorite Wolverine costume that we've seen from anything. Comics, movies, whatever. Also this Monday on my podcast, The Weekly Planet, we're going to be talking this trailer in a bit more depth, plus all the latest movie and comic and TV show news. It's linked below. Check it out if you want or do not. It's fine. Either, whatever. Whatever you want to do, man. Alright, thanks for watching this though. I appreciate it. Take care.
And maybe you shouldn't be living here!